Hello, welcome back to my Allen Bradley PLC test bench. In this session we're going to be looking at the Allen Bradley SLC 500 scanner module 1747SN. This is a module that fits in the chassis, and it is for communicating to remote I/O modules. So in this particular case, I have a 1791 24A8 24 input, 8 output at 120 volt, running pilot lights on the bench, as you can see here. And it takes and makes a simple way to add remote I/O to your SLC 500 system. This has been around since the 502 from what I'm reading in documentation, and it still works fine. For those of you wondering, yes, this is still in use because I just sold, at the time of this video, I just sold a couple to a customer down south. And yeah, they're working well for what they were designed for originally. They just carry on. So we'll take and swing over and have a look at the screen and the wiring setup, and there's a couple of dip switches. The switches on the remote I/O module and the remote scanner, the SN, have to be set to the same speed. And word of caution, you need to power down both of them. I'll go over this again. To be able to change the switches and for it to recognize the change. This is part of the older system, and that's the way it has to be done. So anyhow, we'll be back in a minute, and we'll just get swung around and set up. Thank you very much. Okay, here we are back for the first section. So here are the parts and pieces. We've got the 1791 24A8 input module, and we have the 1747, just turn it over here so you can see it easier, SN module. Now you'll see the two switches here, and you see the dip switches in here. Now these two switches here are the speed setting for the block I/O, and this set of dip switches here is the speed setting for the SN module. Those two settings must match. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes about it. And little trick on these ones, and a lot of the PLC-2 systems, and including the SLC 500, you need to power down, change the switch setting. In this case, we'll go down to 57.6, and in here we'll change the two this way. And it's 57.6, as is per the front settings described. There's no software you have to change. This is a hardware change only, but it must be powered down to do it. It only recognizes the change on a power down, power up. Once your module is inserted, you plug in your remote I/O link. You power up your block I/O first, and you'll see down here, you'll see the red flashing lights. It's not communicating to the scanner module. There's nothing out there. We power up the processor. In this case, it's a 553 processor. And it doesn't take very long. And there it is. It's ready to go. Remote I/O is one of the fastest boot up times that Allen Bradley ever came up with. DeviceNet, ControlNet, and Ethernet are really dead slow compared to it. So if you're in a hurry, you need to have your remote I/O on. Make sure you've got the right system. So there are, we'll just swing around just a little bit, 3 rungs, and hopefully that's as close as we can get. Okay. Now this is directly from the manual. So you start out with a copy file, and it's hashtag M1. Now this third number references the exact slot number that the module is in. You could have 1, 2, or 3 on a 4-slot chassis. So, and it puts it into B3:0 in this particular case, a length of 4 words. When the transfer is done, it sets bit 13, which is over here. You can't see that. Okay, when the block transfer is done, pardon me, turns on bit 13, and it moves the status from B3:10 into N10:10 for 64 words. Now, that's where you can read and manipulate the data a little bit. But there's also an easier way. If there's an error, we go down here, it'll set bit 12, it'll move the error code into N1064 in this particular case. So, pretty straightforward and simple. Okay, so we're offline right now. If we go into, let me just move this over a little bit, we're going to go into the I/O configuration. And there you can see we get it says an L51C SN scanner module in this one here, right here. You double click on it and it brings up the advanced I/O configuration. Now we'll just focus in just a bit tighter. Hopefully this problem with screens is they don't always focus as well as you want. So all of this data here is default. I didn't touch that. So now we go down to Edit G Data. Now as you can see, you can have with this setup 4 additional logical racks. And you can have each of the 4 groups. So 16 different, in this particular case, we could have 16 block I/O for our, move that over, hopefully get rid of that. Yeah. But this case, we just call it a quarter rack, and it's device number 1, I/O words times 1. So if we were adding more remote I/O on our link, we just click on the number of racks we want. So we hit OK, and close this. So if we go if we go online now, here we are back again. So we're online. Now if we go, and in this case I have a very basic sort of flasher bit. Flasher timer turns the bit on and off. So if we turn on our output enable toggle bit, it's turning the outputs on and off. We go back over here. You might be able to hear it. It's hard to say. So there we are. We're turning them on and off. Now that's great, but let's have a look at how we can control this. In this particular case, because it's a remote I/O system, we're moving, in this case, 255 and 0 for on and off on our outputs. And as you can see by the addressing, it's directly into the output word. So output group 3 in this particular case, because the scanner module is in the 3rd chassis slot, and it turns them on and off. Now if we roll down just a touch, I'm just bringing all the inputs in to the bringing them out onto the screen so we can see them. And that's all there is to it. Now you can do all your other programming, data manipulation, or whatever you need done. There you go. thank you very much. Subscribe if you'd like. Come back off as often as you can. I know I've been a little slow on putting up videos in the last year, but life gets in the way, doesn't it? Thanks a lot. Have a great week.